at a shop that sold
Military equipment. I don't know what I could say on TikTok. That's where I got it from, and I wear it because it's the only jacket that I have right now. I have other jackets. I have leather jackets. I have two leather jackets. One of them is ripped, and I what else? What do I have? I have. That's honestly it. I have a Costco jacket. The problem with my Costco jacket is it's like a turtleneck, not a turtleneck. It goes all the way up to here. It bothers my beard. I don't like to wear it, so I like wearing this instead. By the way, I need a new jacket actually. Now that I think about it, I need to get a good winter jacket. Um, but this one I got in Donetsk. But anyway, look, as somebody who's been to Donbass myself, and yeah, we don't always tell everyone when we are getting interrogated or detained, but it happens all the time at airports, and it's a norm. It's when it doesn't happen, we're like, wow, we lucked out, it didn't happen. But that's the norm is that it does happen to us. We just don't talk about it because it's like, who would care? Are you surprised? Of course not. Um, no. Frankly, the biggest mystery is me. Actually, it's not Jackson. It's me. Uh, I was in Moscow when I started to post footage of my travel there, and I really did not pull back. I consulted with a lawyer, and yeah, I realized I was informed everything I'm doing is legal. Even the crazy thing I was doing was all legal. There's nothing that could get me in trouble. So I said, yeah, I'm going to post it. It really looks bad. It looks bad, but it's legal. It's fully legal, right? Now, the shocking and surprising thing is that I came back and I was not detained. But that's pretty scary when you think about it. I came back to JFK Airport in New York and I wasn't detained or questioned. I was detained and questioned the first time, and so was Jackson, by the way. So for me, the first time I was detained and questioned was when I was returning from Mir, which was a very comparatively innocuous thing. It was just a multipolarity conference in February, and when I returned from that, they did detain me. They took my phones, they seized my phones, and they got everything from my phones. But I'm not a dummy. There's nothing on my phones that's so I'm not a dummy. But yeah, that happened. But after I came back from Donbass, nothing, nothing. And Jackson, the first time he came back, they held him for like 3 to 5, 7 hours. I don't remember exactly how long, but they held him for a while. You're exactly right, Jennifer. That's what I was gonna say. So the reason they didn't do anything is because they are basically in a hyperdrive in terms of surveillance at this stage, and they are trying to make me feel as comfortable as I can just to see how far, where I'm gonna go. It's like they're putting a tracker on like a dolphin or a shark or something and seeing where it's gonna go, and so that's why they're not. But are they building a case against us? Probably, frankly. We're very careful about laws and not violating laws. We're very, very careful about that. But laws can change. They can change the law however they want. They could also fabricate stuff. Now, people ask the question, how come Scott Ritter is getting in trouble and we're not? Why is the crackdown happening against Scott Ritter and not us? I'll tell you exactly why. It's for two reasons. One is that Scott Ritter used to be one of them. So he used to be one of them, okay? And he turned on them. He flipped. So that is a much different situation. Much, much different situation. And then the second thing is they have a precedent of law enforcement, and they had a case against him that worked. And so they built the precedent, and they don't have that with us. But all of this has happened within less than a year, so you bet they take their time. When you look at the Uhurus and stuff, it took them like 8 years. This stuff was like 8 years, 10 years ago. So they take their time. The government takes their time when it comes to building these kinds of cases. But don't hold your breath. Yeah, they're gonna. We're not dummies. We know what we're doing. All right, we know what to expect. But there's just other factors that is the reason it's not phasing us. And because okay. Uh, the other factors are that, there's just going to be so much systemic instability as a consequence of a world war and other things, internal things, that we are not extremely confident that, if things just are normal for the next 15 years, of course, we're screwed. But we are not banking on that being the case. So that's why we are so brazen. And even though we're not breaking any laws, we're still very brazen and stuff. Well, that's just the reason. It's just because we don't think we're the biggest problem. Frankly, there's so many other problems everyone's got to deal with. Why would we be the biggest problem, we're talking about a lot of internal stuff. It's got nothing to do with us. And I don't think I'm hoping we're not, well, you don't want to say too much, but, so it's like, yeah, that. And then meanwhile, look at Hassan. I mean, I said it. I saw some funny things from his followers. They were saying some funny stuff. Anyway, we're saying there's no systemic pushback at all. There's no systemic pushback at all against Hassan. He's never gotten any systemic pushback. I'm talking he's never been deplatformed. He's never been demonetized. There's never been smear pieces from the media against him. Fox News doesn't count, by the way. Those are themselves glow-ups indirectly. But CNN, Vice, whatever, all these other magazines, they're all giving him glow-ups, and they have nothing but praise for him, and they take him seriously. And his reputation is never being maligned, ever. And well, if you were genuinely a critic of the system, how could that be, right? I feel like it's a very, very fair question to ask. But his followers, I can't believe what I saw them say, because one of them tried to respond, and they were like, well, no, it's because it's a private company and he makes them money. Okay, so the gray zone like them alone, we don't have to even look at all the other things. The gray zone had a report proving directly how big tech colludes with U.S. intelligence agencies and the security state to deplatform and censor opponents of the regime. So the idea that big tech is private is just really funny. You're so paranoid that you want to Fed jacket Russia's biggest defender, right? But you're not paranoid to the point where you're like, oh yeah, big tech is totally private and they don't collude with the government at all. I just find that to be a profound level of naivety and delusion, frankly, which I struggle to see how anyone takes that seriously. I really struggle to see how anyone's going to be here taking that seriously, You're so paranoid that you're going to say the biggest defenders of Russia and everyone else, all the other bad guys, we should be Fed jacketed, but Amazon and Twitch, I'm saying like twitching my eye. I'm twitching my eye. That is a deficiency of magnesium. Anyway, when Amazon and big tech companies, you're trying to say that those are like not colluding with U.S. intelligence agencies. It's really funny. They're like, oh, Jackson wasn't making anyone money. Really? Then why did YouTube demonetize him? He was making a ton in YouTube. I remember what he was making in YouTube ad revenue. They had to demonetize him. He was making so much. I was making a decent amount. I was giving Twitch a lot. Yeah, I was giving my eye twitching a lot because of my magnesium deficiency. My eye was twitching and I just wasn't taking enough magnesium. It's because of my magnesium deficiency. And I was making a lot of money from not taking magnesium toward the end of the eye problems. Okay, we've hit the requirement for the time, so we just have one more day that we have to go live, and then we're gonna hit the requirement for tomorrow. Earlier tomorrow, we could do the debates. Yeah. So, like I was saying, no, I just find it really. You don't. If you think that if you go to Donbass and you come back and the first thing that happens is you're under arrest, you don't know anything about how anything works. Yes, they need a legal pretext. Absolutely, they do. And they don't have one because it's not. There's nothing against the law about going on a press tour to Donbass. There's nothing illegal about it. There's no law in the book saying you can't do that. There's no legal precedent that says you can't do that. Can they invent a new one? Possibly. Possibly. But they haven't yet, you know. And I'm not gonna comment on the thing about Jennifer because I definitely will be deplatformed if I do that. That's a green topic, yeah. That's not a TikTok topic. No, it's such a profound angle he's taking. He's like, well, no, the real U.S. assets are the ones that are going against the system in every kind of way and are going against U.S. geopolitical interests unconditionally in every respect. And you, meanwhile, who softballs it because you are in fact afraid of U.S. intelligence agencies coming after you, you're the real dissident and you're the real left-winger, get out of here, man. He's like trying to posture as if he's the real dissident and he's the real radical or whatever. And he's never faced any systemic pushback in the entirety of his career. As someone who knows about how these things work, that's because you're in no way a threat to the system. Jackson is banned everywhere except yeah, he's afraid of his viewership, but what is driving the viewership to act and behave in the ways that they are? Well, if you think that discourse is organic and like Jackson is artificial, you don't know anything about how it works. Is he? Yeah, he's even not allowed on TikTok. So there you go. I mean, when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere, right? Everywhere. So it's really rich. It's just what a topsy-turvy, upside-down world we live in. Like, the actual asset of U.S. intelligence agencies, nobody bats an eye. No one suspects a thing. But us, the people who have had the most consistent position, the most principled position, the boldest and bravest position, fighting an uphill battle constantly, going through so much persecution, it's like we're the ones that are getting... Everything's the opposite of what it is, you know, in this topsy-turvy world. You know, it's like a upside-down world completely. In any case, okay, the icing on the cake is that he's at Cambridge. That's the icing on the cake. The icing on the cake is that he's at Cambridge. Okay? Yeah, if you're real threats to the system, real revolutionaries are totally invited to Cambridge without any controversy or pushback at all, and everything is completely fine, and there's no problems. And you're given a 5-star hotel, and you're flown. I know what happened behind the scenes. We have people everywhere. So that's what's going on. He's at Cambridge saying that, at Cambridge, and he's trying to make it seem like Jackson is a part of the system. I just find it baffling. How is Jackson part of the system and not Hassan, when Hassan is actually sitting in Cambridge saying that, having been flown out and invited to Cambridge a week after he got a glow up from CNN, while streaming to the Purple Place, which he has never been deplatformed from or demonetized from, and has in fact been permitted and allowed not only to become the top political streamer, but the only political streamer. All the other political streamers on that website are banned. It's not just me and Jackson. Like, everyone else got banned, except him and his allies. So for him to sit there and try to say that Jackson is part of the system, or we're part of the system somehow, and and all of these other outstanding details are just there out in the open, how do people eat this up? How is there such a profound lack of self-awareness about something that is so clearly right in front of your face? Like, this guy has never gotten any problems at all. He's never faced any hurdles in his career at all thrown his way. Again, no character destruction, no reputation destruction, no cancellations, no discourse manipulations, nothing. And then they look at us and they say, oh, that only happens to you guys because you deserve it. Really? Why do we deserve it? And then they're going to point to fabrications. Like, they post a screenshot of Jackson, the white children, whatever, future tweet, right? And it's fake. So all of the things they say that we deserve our persecution because of are literal fabrications, right? And it actually just proves how persecuted we are, that said fabrications and slander is so widespread. If that can happen and it's all artificial, why hasn't it happened to Hassan if it's happened to us? Why doesn't that ever happen to him? Why isn't there viral fake news about Hassan? You know? Why does he never face any of these glowy, targeted, manipulated attacks? And I used to be one of those people that's like, no, this is paranoid. Of course, the discourse is organic and it's not controlled. But then I started realizing how you can be completely normal and say nothing controversial, and they will still... The best proof of this is ACP. Think about it. What has ACP done that's contentious? Like, one thing. The only thing any chapter of our party has done that's contentious was distribute turkeys to poor and needy families for Thanksgiving at an event that was also attended by the police, who helped distribute the turkeys as well. That is the most controversial and contentious thing a chapter of our party has done. Feed the needy in Washington. Yeah, in Washington. Feeding the needy is the most controversial thing our party has done. But type our party onto social media or Reddit or anywhere else and see what people say about our party. Look at the reputation our party has. Does the reality justify the reputation? Does the reality of what we have actually done justify all of the bad things that are said about us? What has our party done that is bad? Literally nothing, right? What has our party done that is actually bad? Nothing. And look at the controversy surrounding our party for no reason. If that to you is not proof that the discourse is 100% manufactured and manipulated and it couldn't possibly be organic, I don't know what proof you need. So we're a completely normal party that has done literally nothing wrong, and this happens to us. So even if you believe Hassan Piker has done nothing wrong to deserve artificial and manipulated reputation destruction, the fact that it hasn't happened to him is proof that there are actors targeting us who have the power to do this, and there are no actors targeting him. And that says something. Why isn't he being targeted? We're both claiming to be left wing, we're both claiming to be opponents of the system, and only one of us is being targeted. So who's actually correct? You know? Like, we're both claiming to be opponents of the system, we're both claiming to be left wing, but only one of us is facing persecution and facing all of these attacks and all of these problems. So who's actually telling the truth? You know? Who's actually telling the truth? Only one of us. I don't know why people ask me if I'm Turkish. I'm not Turkish. Anyway, no, it's baffling. It's absolutely baffling. Let me actually check on Eddie, see what's going on. All right, Eddie's ready. All right. No, I mean it's baffling. It's absolutely baffling. I find it incredible that again, I've explained this dynamic before, and the dynamic is basically like, you know, a lot of people look at Jackson and they look at like how much he's good at engagement and just likes. And they're like, oh, that's the manipulated thing. And they'll look at Hassan, and that's a guy who's like discursively in a much better position, meaning the way people talk about him is much better, his reputation is better, the narratives surrounding him are much cleaner and much better. And for some strange reason, human psychology thinks that narratives are more authentic than just pure likes and pure whatever. They just see someone go viral with pure likes, and they're like, "Oh, that must be a bad faith actor. That guy's fake." And why? Because psychologically, we think there's authenticity when there's a reciprocal kind of process of recognition and communication going on, and we associate that with authenticity and sincerity. But the sick thing, the sick thing, is that it's literally the opposite. Meaning, the most artificial, the most engineered, the most manipulated aspects of the internet are the narratives. They're not the pure forms of passive engagement. The active forms of engagement, the narratives, the stories people tell, the reputations that are built about people, that is the most engineered, methodically engineered part of the internet, by far. Meanwhile, the blind spot, this is, people have it opposite. They're like, oh yeah, we can challenge the system by creating counter narratives, counter hegemonic narratives. No, you can't. There's not a lot of room to do that without becoming a cult like we are, right? But there's not a lot of room to do that. You're not going to be allowed on Reddit. You're not going to be allowed anywhere. You're going to be basically like banned from everywhere, and you're going to get hid in your cradle very quickly, right? But if you are purely focused on getting passive engagement, likes, retweets, impressions, You can actually do that as a non-state actor. You can do that very easily if you know what you're doing. Rev learned how to do it, right? RTSG mastered it. Every account RTSG has is minimum 10K because they know how to game the algo. It's a game. You can gamify the algo. The easy thing is getting likes, retweets. That's so easy, right? But the difficult thing is to have discursive dominance. To control the narrative is something that is really difficult for us to do. Now, keep in mind, we are controlling the narrative, but that's the most difficult part of our job. Controlling the narrative is a war that we're waging, and it's very indirect. Part of our way of controlling the narrative is anticipating the state and intelligence actors that are going against us and anticipating their responses. And we've learned to gamify that and work around it through like reverse psychology and all this kind of stuff. So this is how we were able to control the narrative. And yes, we are making a lot of inroads in the American left now, which we weren't before, but we absolutely are. The whole ML space is basically falling to us. And we know what we're doing with respect to that. But that was a really difficult thing to learn compared to just getting engagement. Getting engagement was incredibly easy. The hard part is the narrative control, right? All right, anyway, guys, I'm going to join Eddie's thing, and we're going to be debating Hassan's supporters. Tomorrow, I'll be able to host debates myself. So, see you guys. Go to Eddie M.